someone was saying earlier you really wanted me to watch this. I haven't watched this yet. This is going to include spoilers, so be aware of that, I guess, because this is the ending of Realm Reborn. So I'm assuming that this means the ending of the actual, the post MSQ quest lines, the patch quests, the big filter that is at the end of Realm Reborn. I haven't watched it. Let's see. I can't believe I've missed this Final Fantasy XIV. It's going to be hype.
Okay, it's actually time to change our plan already. Hello, everyone. So here's the deal. I just finished patch 2.5, the true ending of A Realm Reborn. I was silly enough to think that the bit when the credits rolled the first time that was actually the ending. No, it is.
How many of you made that mistake? How many of you saw the credits to the ending of each of, well, not each of them, but like at least the ending of Realm Reborn, and you're like, oh, I finished it. If you did that, hit 1 in chat right now. You're like, oh, I finished this. This is great. This is fine. So now I got a little bit of stuff in between, and then we onwards to Heavensward we go, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Come on. Don't be dishonest now. There you go. There you go. Everybody start pressing them ones. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Don't fucking lie. Here, I'll do it too. I didn't because you gave me a spoiler. No, I didn't. Don't fucking lie. I didn't spoil anyone. See, I'll do it too. Look at that. Yeah, it happens. That's how it goes.
Is not. And, well, look, the way that patch 2.4 and 2.5 have went has basically made me reevaluate a few things of the game, reevaluate my plans, and I just have a lot of stuff to talk about. To the point where I don't want to just wait a week for a Heavensward video or something. No, I need to talk about this stuff goddamn right now, because
you can't even hold it.
The ending of A Realm Reborn is
look at the passion on this man's face. It's like it was like me in 2019, because like, dude, I've just been eating this shit story on this other MMO, and now I get to experience this. This is so much better.
Really, really, really good, and really in a way that is punching above what Blizzard have done recently. I don't mean recently, I mean like a long time recently.
Minor ARR spoilers ahead. More like major. We're talking about the ending.
The ending of A Realm Reborn. Now, it is very interesting, because you deal with the immediate Guardian threat by the time, 2.0 ends, right? That's hardly a spoiler. Everyone can guess that. And then what you see after that is Square Enix, I suppose, no longer having to develop A Realm Reborn while also having to provide patches, updating the interface and all of those things for FF14 Legacy. So as these patches roll on, you see them get better and better and better and better. And when I last checked in with you on FF14, I was at the very start of 2.4. Basically the start of the two-parter that's truly leading you into Heavensward. And now that I've went through those two patches, just the things are different, and I've had to change my plan. Because I said to you, I'm going to play this at my own pace. I'm not going to, and that is still true. I'm not going to rush playing the game. I'm going to reprioritize other things.
Dude, this is how you can really see if someone's excited. When they can barely contain their words. It's just like their brain is just like all of the synapses are firing like all the synapses are firing at the same time, and your mouth can't keep up with the processing of information that you're just spewing out. That's the state that he's in for this video. It's actually really refreshing, dude. Like you can that he's passionate about WoW, but you watch like a WoW video, he's much more calm, collected, because he knows that it doesn't matter what he says in that video, he's still not getting a good game out of it. But when he's talking about 14, he's like, shit, I can actually talk about this and be excited and know that it's going to be fucking awesome.
Things so that I can play the damn game more.
Look at him.
So that I'm there with you at the start of Endwalker, because goddammit, I'm completely in. The end, it's brilliant, right? And what's really funny is so many people are saying, yeah, I know, and Heavensward's where it's truly brilliant. And that's the interesting thing, so I want to talk about it.
Okay.
So, I believe it's patch 2.3, you are founding, you're kind of like founding the Crystal Braves, and then there's the two-parter that is, just doing some things, right? Setting up things are going to take us into the Heavensward expansion. Now, before that, of course, you were dealing with the Dormans. There's the refugee crisis in Ul'dah. You see the likes of Teleji doing their thing, and you sort of see all of these pieces. And you get this interesting thing where, You know, at the very start, you are wrapping up the primal threat, right? And then you're just kind of after that, you're doing things that really are just leading into Heavensward. You don't really know it at the time because it actually just feels like one nice big long continuous story. So basically what they end up doing is this really good job of setting up all of these little bits. And, you know, I've heard people say that, like, the patches are a filter, and I can maybe get that with, like, a little bit of 2.1, 2.2, when it's, you know, it is a little bit slower, sure. But man, stuff really does come together, and...
Thank you! Fuck! About fucking time somebody else said it! Jesus Christ! Everybody's like, oh, the patches, they're so boring. And I'm just like, I didn't think the fucking post MSQ quests were that bad. I thought they were pretty fucking good. How could you do it? But everybody's like, oh no, they're so bad. They're terrible. They're boring. They're this, they're that, and the other. No, they're not. Thank you. Jesus.
And I've been completely transfixed by the game.
And I'll tell you what. The post MSQ quests of Realm Reborn are better than they're better than the beginning of Stormblood. Quote me on that. The Realm Reborn patch quests are better than the beginning of Stormblood.
The last 2 days, it has just been wonderful. Now, I'm actually almost at a loss of words as to how I talk about this. Okay, the 50-minute episode that basically is the end of Realm Reborn.
It was real good.
Because that bit when it warns you to set some time aside because this cutscene is coming and it's going to be long, I'll maybe mention 1 or 2 spoilers way at the end of this video, so don't worry, and it'll be very clearly signposted. Wow, right? That cutscene is the bit where every single little thing that they have set up, they pay off, and they pay it all off in a very, very satisfying way. It's really quite impressive, to be honest, how they managed to do that. And they do a good job of luring you into a false sense of security. Perhaps you, really believing in what another character is doing to the point where when things go in an interesting fashion, you're really like, oh, I can completely see how this has happened now that it's happening. But that's not exactly, I thought it was all just more kind of straight when I was doing it first. But no, there's a whole bunch more has happened now. And it's just the confidence of the story too. To actually tell a story. And it's so funny, and this, I know to you FF people who've been here for a very long time, you're going to laugh.
How does that mean, FF people?
Stuff. But this, you have to understand, I'm coming from a World of Warcraft perspective.
Yeah.
They don't really...
The fucking Warbringer cinematics. Imagine playing that after a Final Fantasy XIV cinematic. Oh man, feels bad, bro. Look at this. Yeah, like, oh, I'm mad. Burn the tree. I love how that was supposed to make me feel anything, and I'm like, fuck yeah, barbecue those elves, dude. Fuck them. Let them burn.
Really, I mean, they tell so little of the story in the game, and it's so fragmented.
By so little, he means none.
You look at some of the Covenant campaign steps in the recent patch. They are technically related, but they feel so segmented from each other. You know,
because they're bad.
Different characters, different everything. They don't really feel like they tie together that well.
Because they don't.
So you've got things like that going on. And then whenever it all does, it all really does happen.
It's terrible.
I mean, I'm not saying that everything
impact.
needs to have basically a TV show at the end of it, like with ARR. I'm not saying that. But the best Blizzard can give you often is just... a 1.5-minute cinematic, a 2-minute cinematic, and sure, it might look expensive, but it's a cinematic that almost feels like it's like, ooh, mystery, big, surprising, shocking event.
It's an empty cinematic.
But that's it. There's no lingering in things. There's no exploration of things. There's no, well...
Blizzard cinematics are the equivalent of you being in a bar and, like, the sexiest of ladies comes up to you, seduces the crap out of you, and then when it comes time to seal the deed, she leaves. She leaves you high and dry in the fucking dirt. She seduces you, flirts with you, and then when it comes time to put out, she's out. That's a World of Warcraft cinematic.
Just letting the story run out and having a reasonable runtime, and you actually seeing and experiencing the story in-game over a period of time. They just don't do that. It's wild. It's insane. I feel like the story of ARR, by the end of that, I mean, it has been wrapped up so much more satisfyingly than... Well, okay, let's see. It's so much more satisfying than 9.0 of Battlefront or of Shadowlands, and more satisfying than 9.1.
It's more satisfying than pretty much anything except maybe... No, actually, it's even more satisfying than anything in Wrath of the Lich King. Like, I'm sorry. It's like... I mean, I guess I still really like that cinematic, the Wrathgate. That was pretty cool. Highlight Bolvar, thank the light. It's like, that was some good shit. But yeah, there was that, and there was like, no king rules forever, my son. But in between that, there was just like a big old nothing. God, I still miss questing in Wrath of the Lich King, though. That was good shit. That was good shit. I want to go back to those days. Can we go back to those days? No, of course not.
More satisfying than 8.3 for sure, because, you know, we just defeated the big old god guy. We go back to Magni, he gives us 73 gold, pats us in the back and says, cheers, mate. Thanks for saving Azeroth again, and that's it. So certainly better than 8.3.
Here's 73 gold.
I mean, 8.2.5, you could say, was good with the Sarfang stuff.
How cold do you have to be? You saved the world. Here's 73 gold. Like, wait, can I get a cinematic, please? No. Here's 73 gold. Now go grind some more artifact power or whatever the Azerite power, whatever the fuck you're supposed to be grinding. Go fucking grind that. Go get some more Azerite
really that well
juice.
Supported by the overall like long story that your character went on. It was more like a cool short film that they assembled.
Totally
outside,
not a Mary Sue, by the way.
Outside of your core World of Warcraft experience. So that's a bit weird to think about, to be
Sylvanas,
honest.
totally not a Mary Sue.
More satisfying than 8.2, certainly than 8.1 and 8.0. I mean, Legion had a lot of a really big cool factor at the end, and it was telling such a, you know, ambitious in terms of like, oh, it's like a, you know, a big anime thing, Space Satan's going to come and punch the planet. Like, so that's cool. And that's where WoW is like doing a good job staying in its lane. But compared to everything else that WoW's done since then, the end of ARR just tops it. Now, I'm sure WoW might have, you know, little cinematic high points that are very cool. But like, just as an overall story being told, no, not at all whatsoever is it anywhere close, not even in the same ballpark.
Not even in the same
see that
league.
happen in patch 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5 as things come together. I mean, look, if you're an FF person, I have the, you know, the first quest of Heaven's Ward is there, right, ready for me to do it. So you know where I am, you know the things that I've seen, you know the things that I know and the things that I don't know. And they've just done that thing where everything that has happened in ARR is satisfyingly tied off, but in a way where, like, I have a fair idea where the story's going. I don't know exactly how it'll go, and I'm really excited. It just feels so much more continuous as a story and how it's all woven together. And it's really taken the last half of the ARR patch content and really seeing that all happen and seeing it through to feel that. I mean, I've known that because of what people have told me, right? And, you know, you know what I've experienced myself up to the last video. But now I feel like that extra little bit on top, right? And then everyone says that Heaven's Ward absolutely clobbers it, which I mean, I totally believe. Just, yeah. So it's just really cool, the end of ARR. And like, I know that the ARR patches do have their moments of not the strongest pacing. I know that when it's suddenly time to go to the Crystal Tower to do all of that, that it can feel like a little bit of a like, oh come on, I want to do that thing though. Especially when, like most people, that happens at the very end of 2.5, where you really want to go to Ul'dah to that big celebration ceremony thing, but you gotta go do the tower instead now. And I do want to talk about the tower, actually, because I have no idea how they do this with their raids into the future. And with the tower, it had an interesting story. Like, I liked it overall. It wasn't the most, like, you know, boom in terms of pacing or anything like that. But it was neat. And I actually felt like I understood so much more about, like, this raid and its stakes and all of that, because the way that they presented it was a bunch of quests where you learn about stuff. And then you and your people, you take your first step into it. You do the first wing of the raid. And then after that's done, you have some more stories. You learn some more things. Then you do the next bit. And, you know, that happens and happens and happens. And it's almost as if the raid is the mechanic, or the raid is like how they are telling the big points of the story that really need something that feels big and special. So it's like they get it's either like they get the story for free when they do their raid, or the raid for free when they do their story. It's just they're so woven together in a natural way. And of course, when you're experiencing that content, you know, anything other than the first time, well, you just queue up in the duty finder and you just do it, right? But as you're there in your first time, it just feels like this one integrated experience, this one big storyline, you know? You start off, you know, the raid, you get like a little cutscene taking you in, you go through whatever the wing is, and at the very end, you'll get like a narrative cinematic that, I mean, you'll get narrative cinematics that are so much longer than the ones that WoW does for its like big centerpiece raids, as you see the story. And sure, not every one of those might be the most like crazy balls to the wall cinematic where, you know, some big shocking thing happens is going to have the community talking for ages. But, well, those things are all secondary to telling a story, and they actually do that. Right?
That moment of the Crystal
So I'll be very
Tower.
keen to see how they do those raid stories as time goes on, because I've got to say I like the way that they do it. And I also like how, I mean, there's not that much trash. I think that's pretty good. Now, that said, I also do know that we're all running through there with like eye level 130-ish gear, right? So we totally outgear the stuff, and that's why it feels like, you know, LFR or something, and it all just, you know, those bosses melt. But another thing I really liked too was the hard versions of the previous Titans that I fought. That was really, really neat. A bit tricky readjusting the keyboard and mouse when I'd never played a ninja on keyboard and mouse, really. But those were really fun. And then I hear that there's these extreme versions, I think, of those fights with the primals that are like way more involved, that I think are supposed to be, I think it's canonically like a bard retelling an epic version of the fight. But I think that was a really cool way to do it. And I kind of like how those primal characters, you know, they appeared. They sort of like keep them relevant there. I just thought that was, I thought that was quite neat. And man, it's just, yeah, I'm sitting here being like, wow, this is... Like, the thing that World of Warcraft has is giving you a really big raid each patch, and having the dungeons that you can do if you like the WoW style of dungeons, and the WoW PvP that you can do if you like the WoW style of PvP. But comparing the Covenant campaigns...
Okay. Bellular's got some jokes. The Covenant campaigns. Covenant campaigns. Yeah, right. The Covenant campaigns, dude. The Covenant. He's got jokes.
It's not fair. It feels cruel. It feels cruel. I know that's inherently a bit cruel to say, but it does feel cruel comparing the Covenant campaigns to what's being done here.
Yeah, it does.
And it did make me really realize one thing. Blizzard's whole...
Because they're fucking terrible and they put no effort in that piece of shit.
gameplay first is something they consistently misunderstand. Now, I can understand gameplay first in the context of some of Blizzard's older works and, you know, what they were doing there. But here's the thing. If it's going to be either choose story or choose gameplay, Blizzard always say they choose gameplay at the expense of story. And generally, we've all been like, well, yeah, it's a game. Gameplay's the bit that matters. But I think as we really try to understand what we enjoy about games, pure mechanics...
I think the one point that you forget to mention here, Bellular, is that throughout the times, Blizzard stopped choosing between campaign and gameplay. I mean, story and gameplay. You want to know what Blizzard started choosing? Because like before, Blizzard was like, okay, we have to, in this moment, we have to choose between story and gameplay. Okay, we're going to choose gameplay. Gameplay above all, always the thing. Except in recent years, like I'd say about in the last 5 years or so, Blizzard was like, okay, we have to choose between story and gameplay. And in comes Bobby fucking Kotick, and he goes like, hey, what you boys doing in here? What you got? What are you talking about? What? You're picking between what? Story and gameplay? No. You don't understand. Listen, let me explain to you what exactly we need to be picking by. We need to be picking by this right here. The only thing I give a fuck right here. Money. That's what you need to be picking. Fuck story. Fuck gameplay. Fuck enjoyment. Give me more of these. Do whatever it is to give me more of these. I should have gotten like a thinking about this. If this had been something that I was prepared for, I would have gotten like a bigger note. But you know, this is what YouTube pays me, so it is what it is.
Mechanical gameplay is a pretty limited way to think about it purely, right? And, you know, maybe realizing that the thing that matters the most is the experience.
To Blizzard, it's
You know,
money,
really
dude. That's what matters
And
most.
I just have to wonder, do Blizzard
Dollar
need to recalibrate
bills.
what gameplay first means? And I'll try to develop this thought more for like a... I want to do a video on the things that WoW can learn from FF because it could, and I really hope it does, because that would be good for everyone who plays it, which will include me. But here's the thing. What if you go gameplay first, and you sacrifice story for some gameplay, but it turns out that the gameplay gains that you have earned via that sacrifice are actually less than the story gains that you sacrificed in choosing that smaller amount of gameplay? And then what if ultimately that actually results in an overall game experience that isn't as compelling to a player? And that's when I think about FF, because, you know, in these recent, the recent patches that I've done, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, a lot of the MSQs not involve gameplay. I mean, there's bits, you go to Garuda, you do the big trial that happens at Ishgard, you do that stuff, and those are cool. You do the Alliance raid, that was also quite cool. But a lot of the rest of it, wasn't some big gameplay moment. The 50-minute long cutscene, and I get, okay, that could be a bit extreme for some, could be a bit too much, fair enough. But it's the story that mattered, and it was the overall experience, and it is my character that is the game experience, and it's like, what is best for the story? Me controlling my character fighting, or my character talking to other characters, and us experiencing a story that way? And I just think, turns out that you really do need to blend the two of them a lot more. You really do. And I guess that's the thing. There's so much of it doesn't have the gameplay as you're going through these patches, but you're really gripped by the story. You care about the characters. They've actually set things up in an interesting fashion. I mean, all of this stuff in Ul'dah surrounding political intrigue and refugees and stuff. And a few other elements as well that I won't really spoil. I mean, I can't even think how many hours the whole thing has been. It's been a decent few anyway, building all of this up. And it's like, imagine if Blizzard dedicated, I don't know, 6 hours of story to building up political intrigue in Stormwind. And you actually really felt like you understood Stormwind and really cared about it. And every nook and cranny, just every facet of it. And it was a really, really deep story. And they, completely stuck the landing and just had you extremely impressed by the end, because that's what they've done with...
Because with the inconsistencies that you have in World of Warcraft, the whole thing would fold like a deck of cards, like a house of cards.
Me and Ul'dah. I feel like I almost know Ul'dah more than Stormwind, and it's very recently that I've probably started playing this game.
That's because you 100%
I know a lot about Stormwind. I know because I've been
more
into the
about
WoW lore for a long time
than
sure.
Stormwind.
But this experiential feeling of a place via the in-game storytelling, it just goes to show that just this focus on making the city-states feel real and them being willing to have storylines that don't involve killing things all the time. I mean, you look, as FF, it's an MMO, you do a lot of killing, but
I could be so gross.
Well, I thank you very much
the
for being gross
story
and
to
Canessa for
combat
7
ratio
months.
is so much different to World of Warcraft, and
Thank you.
in a way where I just feel really connected to the world and really connected to my character in a way that I haven't really been to my WoW character, other than knowing that it's my WoW character and I like it and I played it for a long time. It's just...
That's a good thing that you're not very connected to a World of Warcraft character, because they can nerf your class next expansion and then you can just play another one. It doesn't matter. See, I'm extremely connected to my World of Warcraft character, and that is actually a bad thing for someone who would like to play World of Warcraft every now and then, because they keep making my character fucking unplayable and then I have to play a different one, and that fucking sucks.
Just... yeah, I mean, wow. It has me thinking. It has me thinking, you know, it's either a thing of World of Warcraft needs to entirely reform what it does to try to compete with FF in these grounds, or it needs to go completely in the other direction and focus on itself as a setting and not really a big story. And that would mean doing way more just big, simple storylines and actually maybe even some more villains of the month or whatever, but then focusing in a lot more on player expression, on the smaller things in the world. It's that thing, right? Skyrim is,
as Kirsten says, or what will actually do
because of
nothing.
What they can do in it. It ends up to a lot of people feeling this kind of...
No, okay, listen, Kirsten, that's a lie. They're doing things in World of Warcraft. They're replacing women with bowls of fruit. They're removing a lot of the jokes from the different World of Warcraft races. And, you know, they're cleaning up their act, you know. They're making sure that World of Warcraft reflects their values as a company. Except it doesn't, because if it did, then World of Warcraft would be the fucking Cosby Suite.
Narrative sandbox, even though we could all say that the main storyline of Skyrim is really quite pants, or the main storyline of Oblivion is a bit pants, right? You know, we can all say those things, but those games are successful because they win, you know, they don't really win in narrative, but they win in, like, immersion and setting and that type of richness. And that's what really makes me wonder, is the best thing that Blizzard could do for now to really simplify, really simplify their story,
so grossly
and then, you know, try not to compete with FF on FF's ground, because maybe FF will win there, and instead to compete on making the best big budget theme park MMO possible.
Thank you very much for being gross and incandescent for 3 months.
You know what I mean, right? It's like, if you can't,
thank you.
there's a bit of if you can't beat them, join them, but if you can't beat them and you can't really get close enough, well, why not try to win via another strategy? And I suppose WoW's maybe been trying to do that, but it's just this weird thing where it feels like WoW is kind of Destiny 2 in its endgame structure, with loads of systems and weird things that I think most of the players don't care about, and then a storyline that they seem really self-serious about, but also
on those slacking
like don't tell like a tenth as well as FF in so many cases, right? It's just, it's interesting. I don't know what's going on, especially considering that I think it's Creative Business Unit 3. I think they've got less budget than Blizzard does for World of Warcraft, and yeah, look, this is just one of these moments, and I suspect I'm going to have more of them as time goes on. It's one of those moments where I'm like, oh shit, that's been sitting there. It's been sitting there for 8 years, and I have not known.
Vertical Core, thank you very much.
I've heard, but I haven't known, and now I know.
Appreciate the support.
And that just changes things up. Some other thoughts in my plan, then. Okay. Machinist. I'm going to roll Machinist pretty damn quick, and I'm going to get that from 30 up to 50. Reason why is I really enjoy Ninja, but I also want to try something a bit different, and, you know, Ninja can be a bit sweaty, especially as you get higher than I am right now, and I know that a lot of people who play Ninja do appreciate having something like Machinist that is a bit more like simple, fast-paced fun. I think that's what Machinist seems to be, so that's what I'm going to do. In terms of content, I mean, stick around. Do stick around. There's going to be more with FF. I just want to go and play Heavensward now.
3 years into the future, the Bellular gaming channel gets renamed to Bellular Final Fantasy, and then Bellular creates another Bellular gaming channel.
and I want to share. I want to share the ride with you. That's what I want to do, right? So, yeah, things are going to be faster. That's just how it's going to be, and it has to be because I need to reprioritize other things so that I can play more FF. That has happened. I've somewhat been got, I suppose.
We got him, boys.
Another thing I will say, it has been nice getting all those tombstones of poetics and then being able to get the ironwork set for my character, and then by the time my machinist hits 50, because of the roulettes and stuff, it should have enough to also get that set. I know that set's like pretty nice to have as you're going to Evansward, so there's that. And really with that said, that is that's really most of it, bar the spoiler stuff. For my talking points and just things I wanted to share with you now that this has happened and it's all bouncing around my head and I need to get it out. And with that said, spoilers, spoiler time.
Oh,
I'm not going to go into any really deep things. I'll just say I really like how
if you haven't done Round Reborn,
all of this content.
Peace out for 8 minutes. Come back.
I just like it. He's doing his plans. He's trying to be a sort of a grander statesman or whatever, and just seeing how it all turns out. It's neat. It feels like that's a character that's actually going to learn and grow a lot. And that's just cool. So that's really cool. Crystal Braves. You always hear the bits of dialogue, people being worried about them accepting the Syndicate's money, the worries about the monetarists. And the way that it's always done is you just think, oh yeah, there's going to be some corrupt people in the ranks. It's not going to be that bad though. And then when it flips on you, it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, right. Especially when Ilberd, or Ilberd, whatever, when he, betrays as well. It's such a well-orchestrated twist. It really is, because it doesn't come out of nowhere. You're just really lured into a false sense of security, right? That's really strong, and they just execute it really well. And then, Irda, Papolino, what's going to go on, Thancred and Philia and Shtola, all of the others too, like what's going to happen with them? I mean, they couldn't all be dead. I mean, I know that I've seen the other cinematic, but still, I mean, the way all of that happens, you're like, oh shit. And just like the whole way that 50 minutes goes down, where it's like it starts and, I knew that she was being poisoned from the time she was coughing and the way that they introduced the servant character. So it's like, I knew she was being poisoned. I wasn't that surprised at all by that. Because I think that's supposed to be pretty obvious. That Telegi's doing stuff, like you know he's doing shit. But just the way that it unfolds, it's like they shoot it quite well. They tell it quite well. They pace it quite well within that 50 minutes. You being incarcerated, then it gets into the rest of the cutscene, right?
Well, thank you very much.
Alphino, he gets held up by his boys, by the Crystal Braves. Then
support.
Okay, Roban just he's so pissed off it goes red and he makes bear sounds, but somehow you're like, oh yeah, of course it's Roban. This is exactly what I would expect. I now know where his arm went.
This moment is so good. Thing.
Just like the stakes, the pacing, and then suddenly you and all your friends are running for your life, and you get out with Alphino, and the friggin' merchant guy is there. He takes you away, and you're like, it's all wrapped up. It's all wrapped up really well, but in a way where there's like so many places it could go, and yes, that was all done really, really, really well. God damn it. What can I say? I'm in. I think I need to end this video and go. And top prize for what I'm going to go and do next. I shouldn't have said that. There's going to be some rather silly comments about that, isn't there? Ah, well. So look, subscribe to the channel. We're going hard here. That's just how it's going to be. This whole game, this whole situation, all deserves it. There will be content for other games as well, but yeah.
Not for long.
I'd be lying if I said it was going to be extremely balanced for the next 2 months. For obvious reasons. I just want to say as well, a really big thank you, everyone, for the support on this channel. It was really cool to see. Yeah, man, I don't know what to say. Thank you for the support. the show goes on. This journey will be a long one, and I think it will be a lot of fun. Have a great day. I will see you next time.
Dude, this remix of Bozja is really good. This remix of Bozja is fucking awesome.
Sloppy.
Sloppy. That was really good. That was interesting to see because, like, usually you see a more, like, I would almost say a more scripted side of Bellular. Like, he was so pumped in this video, dude. Right? Bellular was fucking pumped. This whole video is just like, oh my God, this thing and there's that thing and there's the other. It was awesome to see, dude. I'm happy. It means we're probably going to get a lot more Final Fantasy XIV content. It's going to be so good.